What's up, fellas? The Goop here. Um, I am blackpilled. I uh, I put so much work into learning about NAGPRA and exposing NAGPRA and bringing awareness of NAGPRA and what it was doing. Um, Truly, a lot of work into that. And a while back, I did it. I brought awareness. Every single one of the large alternate history creators is now aware of NAGPRA, is now aware of my message that I was trying to put out about it. They all know about it, and absolutely no one could give a shit about it, which is baffling to me because the whole shtick of alt history is that they're hiding history from us, and here is the biggest verifiable example of history being hidden, and intentionally being hidden. And yeah, no one wants to touch it. No one seems to care. Um, I'm not a mind reader. I can only guess as to why people don't want to touch it. But uh, one of the things that I've been learning through this journey is that obviously views matter, view count, engagement, right? But I always kind of thought that would be secondary to the history. History is what the driving force here is learning about history, sharing history, discovering history. And then the view count, obviously a big secondary motivator, but it doesn't seem to be the case. It seems that that's pretty much exclusively the driving force is views, and the history be damned. And I can only kind of assume that these people refuse to touch NAGPRA because it is something that will motivate the woke hate mobs to come after you. They tried coming after me for my coverage of NAGPRA. And I don't know why though. Even that, like, that drives engagement, that's like, hatred is a good engagement driver. And so I don't know, but it was incredibly disheartening. It has been for months now, and I haven't been able to get over it. The fact that I did it, like, it took me a year and an incredible amount of work, but I got the awareness out there, and then just no one cared. And it's not that the public is aware now. The public still has no idea because I'm an incredibly small channel and I'm pretty much the only one that's covered it. But I thought when other creators, bigger creators, found out about it, that they would want to cover it too, and none of them are willing to touch it, and that really fucking blackpilled me. And my biggest interest right now is in ancient America, because I feel like the Americas they have the most left to be discovered, and their narrative that's put out on the Americas is the furthest from what I believe to actually be true. And so I've continued trying to research ancient America, but because of NAGPRA, that's impossible. Like, pretty much every topic that I try and dive into, it's just unavailable. It's just not there. You're just literally not allowed to see anything. The potential ancient copper trade in Michigan, right? That's something that I would like to learn more about. There's claims of pottery matching Minoan pottery. Try and find pottery from ancient times in Michigan. It doesn't exist online. Wouldn't be surprised if before 2024 it did exist online, but with NAGPRA, that's just gone. You're not allowed to see any of it. And that's a roadblock that I've run into over and over and over again. I think of something that'd be interesting. I want to look into it. I go, that's intriguing. And then you're just not allowed to see it. You're just not allowed to see it. And so, NAGPRA very literally stopping me from learning, and then everyone else not giving a shit about NAGPRA. It's got me down, fellas. It's got me real down. Um, yeah, but it takes longer. Like I don't think it does. Like they all know about it. That's the thing. It took me a long time to get to the point where I was reaching out to all of these people. I was, kept pushing it, and then it got to a point where I finally realized that, and like some discussions did happen. I talked to these people. There were some public discussions, some private discussions, and it kind of dawned on me that, oh, everyone's aware. Everyone does know about what I've been talking about. Like all of the larger creators than me, except for I think Michael Button, because he's just so goddamn recent. They all know. They're all aware of my content on NAGPRA. And I've asked them all repeatedly, to help me spread this. No one wants to. And so it's honestly, it's left me with an overwhelming feeling of everyone's a goddamn phony. Like, I don't know how to feel any other way about it when your whole shtick is they're hiding history from us, and here I'm handing you the biggest possible story on that, and you go, no, I'm just gonna keep talking about how they couldn't move the big stones in Egypt. It's extremely blackpilling, and like my channel, I don't really believe my channel will ever be one of the really big channels. Like, I don't have the reach to reach the masses, obviously, and I don't have all that much faith that I ever will. It'd be great if I did, but I feel like I did my job by getting the news to all of the bigger creators. And now that I've done that and absolutely nothing happens, it's a very shitty feeling. It's a very, very shitty feeling. Sucks. And then again, to continue, like, the main topic that I want to research is ancient America, and it's just not possible, because that is what NAGPRA is focused on. Is the most ancient things are the most hidden things. So it just feels shitty. And then, I had the Digital Alexandria project that I was quite excited about as well. And I don't think I ever announced it on here, but I'm no longer involved with the Institute for Natural Philosophy, which actually came about because of the NAGPRA stuff. I had a complete and total psycho that was hell-bent on destroying my life for the NAGPRA coverage, and it didn't go anywhere. But, for a little while there, he was incredibly determined. He assembled a little team to try and cancel me and destroy me and ruin me, and even went so far, one other person literally sent a message going, hey, I think you're going a little hard on the goob. And that message was enough to set this psycho off on this person as well, to the point that he started threatening his family publicly. And while he is trying to destroy me and trying to destroy this other person and threatening this other person's wife and children, Ricardo, the head of the Institute, was actively, very, very actively promoting this person. He had more posts on his page promoting this person than he had on any other topic at the time. So I reached out to him and I was like, hey, not sure if you are aware of what's going on with this guy. And I informed him, and he, made it clear that he didn't give a shit and that he was going to continue promoting him. And I go, maybe you don't understand. He's like, not only is he trying to destroy my life for no reason, but he's threatening the family of one of your board members, the other person that he decided to go after, because he said, maybe you're going a little hard on the goo. That's a direct quote. That is what set this person off to the point that he started threatening this guy's family. Was he said, maybe you're going a little hard on the goob. This was a board member of the Institute for Natural Philosophy. He has since also left the Institute. I wonder why. And Ricardo goes, yeah, no, that's perfectly fine. I support him. I'm going to keep promoting him. And he even told me that maybe I should try and consider things from his perspective. So that, along with the fact that Ricardo was diametrically opposed to me on the NAGPRA issue. He believed that Native Americans should have even more control over everything, that every little bit of control and every single artifact and everything should be in their possession, in their power, in their control, in their decision making. I told him quite clearly that I could not be involved with anyone like him, and that I found his stances to be absolutely disgusting. So that's canceled. I don't think I ever announced on this channel that I was no longer involved with that project, but I'm not. And so yeah, I don't know. I don't know where to go from here. And I appreciate you guys, you know, because you stuck with me for a year of NAGPRA coverage. I'm sure all of you were tired of hearing about NAGPRA because, you know, once you get it, like you get it, you don't need to hear a dozen videos on it, which I think I probably did at least a dozen videos on it. And you guys stuck with me through it. So like that was most excellent of you guys for sure. And I greatly appreciate that. But yeah, because someone said stay the course. Like I could keep harping on NAGPRA and you guys would continue hearing about it. But I do have a very small audience. Like my audience is not reaching the masses. So I don't feel like me continuing to harp on NAGPRA is really going to accomplish anything. Every other creator has made it clear that they have no interest in covering this. That the greatest destruction and cover-up in archaeological history, the alternate history people have no interest in covering. Like, make that make sense. Someone make that make sense to me, because it makes no sense to me. I truly cannot fathom, again, unless they're just terrified of the woke mob, because this is a subject that will activate the woke mob. They saw that. I think many of them were aware of this insane person who was coming after me. Probably not all of them, but I know a decent number of them saw it. So that might have turned people off. And I do believe the majority of them are also aware of what happened to Elizabeth Weiss, which was very vicious. That was, nothing really happened to me, right? Like there was an attempt made that lasted for a few weeks and that was it. It wasn't a big deal. Didn't actually impact me in any way. But like Elizabeth Weiss had her entire life turned upside down because she stood against NAGPRA. And I think they're cowards. I don't know what else to think. I think they're phonies and cowards. Like, I don't know how to not feel that way and how to not feel pissed off at everyone, because it's like, what else am I supposed to feel in this situation? Weiss is still technically employed at the university so that she has access to research. But even though she should have access to research, she very frequently gets shut down. So I think she's mostly just chilling with a little bit of light research on the side. But yeah, I don't know where to go from here. I don't know what to cover. I can't cover the things in America that I want to cover because I just can't study them. It's no longer allowed. Yeah. I mean, if I had the means to do that, Slav, I would. I certainly would. That would be very cool. Going out and being Indiana Jones would be a lot of fun. But yeah, I I'm still hoping to get Max Fomichev on the show and interview him about the vases. Potentially put, wrap that up with a nice bow, because that was another topic that I was very interested in. And it's still very interesting. The revelations of the vases are still very interesting. But what does that mean, Mr. Watson? Keep putting out more videos on NAGPRA? Like, do you guys have any interest in watching even more videos on NAGPRA? I kind of feel like you don't. And you guys are the ones who watch my channel. I don't have much more of an audience besides you guys. I could go be blackpilled about politics and talk about that. I certainly am capable of talking about that, but again, I think that's for a separate channel if I were to go that route. I want to keep this one history oriented. Yeah, I didn't think you really want another video on NAGPRA, Mr. Vince. But like it's genuinely weighed very heavily on me since this happened several months ago. That realization of, like, at first I was so happy because I was like, I did it. Like, everyone knows, like, people are talking about it, everyone knows about it, it's going to break through, people are going to start covering it. And then no coverage came, and I reached out to people, and they were like, yeah, I don't have any interest in covering this. Nope, it's not going to happen. And then I went from excited to, like, what the fuck do I do now? Like, I did my job. I got the news to the people who could get the news to the people, but none of them are willing to get it to the people. Go deep on gematria. Yeah. My one idea I have is, with the Digital Alexandria project, I had already, like, accepted that I was going to be doing all of it myself. And I put a lot of work into that. I mean, I was like writing grants and shit. But nothing was the things that needed to happen on the Institute's end weren't really happening. And maybe they would have happened had there been more time. But they didn't really seem like they were going to happen. So it has occurred to me that, like, the only additional step for me to literally just do it myself would be for me to start my own nonprofit. So I might try and do that, because that was a project I was really, truly excited about. And, if I'm going to do the whole thing myself anyways, why not just literally do the whole thing myself, start my own nonprofit? That process would be a very long process, a lot of waiting. I mean, that would be like a few years down the line, even if I were to start today, before like anything real could even happen. You know what, Slav? I actually like that idea a lot. I think I'm going to look into that. Slav. I think I'm going to look into somewhere I can go. There's no reservations near here, but I'm going to maybe try and find some events, whether it be a council meeting or, if there's some indigenous talk, some indigenous ceremony I can go crash. I'll antagonize some people. That might be a really good idea. I can get down with that. I'm gonna have to give that some very serious thought, Slav. All right. Well, that's why I did this. That's why I did this. So I don't know how productive that would be, because while from what I can tell, the NAGPRA activism isn't necessarily the most popular idea within the actual native population. Amongst tribal leadership, the leadership of most tribes seems to be pretty highly concentrated in activist people. So reaching out to tribes and certainly talking to like official tribal channels, like going through, official communication channels, I think I would get pretty exclusively very pro NAGPRA stances. And yeah, while I am comfortable with confrontation, I don't know that I would necessarily want to just like deliberately bring the wrath of tribes upon me. So I don't know how productive that would be, and I'm not sure what I would actually get out of it, like content wise. I'd get a bunch of natives telling me, whatever. But I do like the city council thing. At the very least, like, that's, even if I'm literally just going to like my local town hall, my local city council, there might be some extra virality to that. There might be some, I could probably whip up a bit of a humorous, over the top speech to give. I'm definitely gonna look into that. And then potentially slightly more targeted, like find some kind of history related thing that I'd be able to crash. I very, very much like that idea. But all right, and that gives me a way to continue pushing NAGPRA too, because again, I did feel like, I'm just preaching to the choir with you guys, but if there's at least somewhat of a different angle on it, I like that. Yeah. Okay. I am not in California. I am in Pennsylvania now. Near Jersey. So, yeah. Yeah. I like that a lot. So that does give me something to do. No, I'm not in Canada. I know Canada is even worse. So that let me ask you guys a question. While I have you here, let me pull up something on my X real quick and ask you guys a question. Give me a moment while I search for it here. Gotta scroll through my, okay. Pull it up on the screen. All right, so when you watch this video,
I think independent media is like your only real media if you get. Excuse me. Excuse me, sir.
Ma'am, were you allowed permits to film on campus?
Excuse me.
Were you allowed permits to film on
I'm
campus?
in the middle of doing a report.
That's fantastic. Were you allowed a permit by the campus, by the university?
This is a public place.
No, it's not. It's a private.
All right. Triggering.
So this video is in Canada. It's on a Canadian school where the bodies were, right? I'm sure all of you guys have heard the story of the children that were murdered at the Canadian schools, the Native children that were murdered and buried in mass graves, hundreds of bodies, right? And Danny Polishchuk called it super early on. He goes, yeah, there's no fucking bodies there. And of course there aren't. There's no bodies there. But for years, These tribes have cried and cried about these mass graves of these children that have been slaughtered and buried there and hidden there. And they collected millions of dollars to dig up these bodies. And years later, they've refused. They've taken the money, they've taken the millions of dollars, but they've refused to dig the bodies. And now, people are finally realizing, oh, there are no graves, there are no children. And here you see this reporter reporting on this, and the university students and the woke retards are furious that there are no bodies. They are furious at people for reporting there are no bodies. They still want to maintain the narrative that these schools are evil and they killed all these children. And I'm just wondering, like, when you guys see this, when you guys see this woke nonsense, does it immediately relate to NAGPRA in your head? Like, do you see the connection to NAGPRA, or is that a connection that doesn't inherently come up? And face man, to get you caught up with what I'm talking about, because I'm happy to spread the news to anyone I can. The North American Graves Repatriation and Protection Act is NAGPRA, and it is being used to systematically erase and rewrite history in North America. It was updated in 2024. I don't know why I stumble every time I try and say 2024. But it made it literally illegal to display anything that is Native American, anything that does not have explicit, prior, and constant written consent. Constant meaning that even if consent is given today, it can be revoked tomorrow at any, for any reason. But when this law went into place at the beginning of 2024, museums across America were forced to shut down. Pretty much every Native American exhibit became illegal on, I think, January 12th. Museums were throwing tarps over their exhibits because they were now illegal to display to the public. But this wasn't just for artifacts. This was for images of artifacts, artistic depictions of, anything Native American, recreations, modern recreations, even potentially written descriptions of these things. So when this law went into place, not only did all of the museums have to shut down their galleries and remove all of the artifacts, everything that was online, the tens of thousands of images that were in museum galleries and university galleries online, those all went blank. Those were all removed overnight online. So there was already a massive, massive purge of information due to NAGPRA, and it is continuing. Many universities, many museums have taken the stance that they need to repatriate everything. So literally anything that has any association to Native Americans, again, not just the artifacts themselves, but images of them, research on Native Americans, recreations of these. So if you build a model of, if you have a headdress, an actual headdress, and you give that back to the natives, and then you make a model of that headdress, like even that off limits. And while many of these museums have reopened, they're reopening with largely things that are from the last 500 years, and even more so, like actual truly modern things. So these tribes are going, hey, here's our dresses, here's whatever, here's what they're making things and then selling them to the museums because they want to show off their culture, right? These tribes that existed 500 years ago aren't the same tribes that existed 2,000 years ago, 5,000 years ago, even 1,000 years ago. So all of that kind of shit is getting erased. It's getting removed from the public. It's become illegal to present to the public. And they're refilling these museums with, post-Columbian artifacts and very literally modern artifacts, modern creations, art pieces that these tribes are creating in the modern day. tribes have repeatedly petitioned to hide the research that was done on the Kennewick Man. The Kennewick Man, it took like a decade for research to actually be done on the Kennewick Man because tribes blocked it. Bones were stolen from the Kennewick Man because researchers were not allowed access to it, but tribes were. And so one tribe snuck in. We don't know which tribe it was because all the tribes had access to it, but none of the researchers did. And they actually smuggled out and swapped some of the bones of Kennewick Man. Kennewick Man was then reburied in a secret location. All of this, by the way, was done before this massive update to NAGPRA, which massively expanded its abilities and made it far more tyrannical. So this has been a long-standing problem, and this problem exists because archaeology is over 99% left-leaning, and they are extremely radical, woke people. They're very isolated branch of academia. They don't interact with other branches much, and they certainly don't interact with the public much. And after watching the response to Elizabeth Weiss, who is quite literally the only active archaeologist who stands against NAGPRA and is speaking against the insanity of NAGPRA, she had her entire life destroyed. And if you ever want to watch something funny, say her name to an archaeologist. Like if you're ever near an archaeologist, just go, hey, what do you think of Elizabeth Weiss? You'll start seeing steam coming out of their ears. Like they truly view this woman as an inhuman entity of evil. She is the devil herself. She is worse than Hitler. And so any archaeologist who might not be entirely captured by this woke ideology is entirely petrified to stand against it because they know what will happen to them. And so there's absolutely no pushback or resistance whatsoever. And so this can only move in one direction, and it can only get further and further, to the left and to the extreme and more woke. And so the end result of NAGPRA, so much has been lost already, but the end result is obviously that it just keeps going further, keeps getting crazier, and that everything will be lost eventually. Yes, and the reason why is because they view archaeology itself as a colonial sin. It's an act of racism and oppression, and undoing that colonial sin is an issue of human rights and is the utmost importance. Fuck the science. What does the science matter in the face of human rights? So that's NAGPRA in a nutshell. Yeah. And the Smithsonian and all of these. So you know how the Smithsonian gets accused of hiding bodies? Like, again, this is such a big topic in alternate history. Alternate history people love to talk about Smithsonian hiding the bodies, hiding the giants, right? Which they did. This is verifiably true. But it's not only the Smithsonian, it's actually been written into law since 1990 that native bodies, and by the way, any body found in America, at least pre-Columbian body, is by default Native American. So even if, they were to find some body that was literally had a sign on it saying, I'm, Jewish, or I'm, Norse, or I'm whatever, any of these other people, it would by default automatically be Native American. And it is illegal to display to the public. That's been since 1990. It's been illegal to display bodies. So yes, the Smithsonian and all these other museums, yes, they literally were hiding away the bodies. It was written into law that they had to hide away these bodies. But now it's any scrap of information as of 2024, any scrap of information on Native Americans whatsoever is now illegal without the written express consent from the natives. So, yeah. Why would this subject not be of interest to alt history people though? It's fully in line with everything they talk about. It's the wet fucking dream for alt history people. It's a wet fucking dream, and no one will touch it. fucking crushing, honestly. Like that realization was rough. It was very rough. So yeah, I don't know, Phil. I am grateful to Slav. Thank you, Slav, for that great idea. I'm gonna look into that. I'm gonna work on that. But yeah, I just feeling down on myself, feeling down on the situation. Been struggling to put out content for the last several months because of it. So I guess that's all, fellas. I thank you again, Slav, and thanks, guys, for listening to me bitch and moan. And hopefully, I'll get something fun out there. That actually is a very fun idea. It has some real promise. That's cool. I'm gonna work on that. Yeah, it is a black pilling world. Feel free to tune in tomorrow, fellas. I will be calling into Danny Polishchuk's show, Low Value Mail, which I've been doing for the last several weeks. And I think most people are taking my calls as a black pill. I'm actually trying to offer up white pills on that show, talking politics and the state of the country and what needs to be done to rectify it. Because I think there is some hope. But yeah, I'm actually trying to deliver hope on that stream, but I think people are taking it the opposite way. So, feel free to tune into that. But that's all I got. Peace out, fellas. Till next time.